In the headlines, a Black Lives Matter protest goes ahead despite the event not receiving the go-ahead from the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. Members of the opposition step up to show support during a Black Lives Matter protest, and the police indicate that there may be consequences for breaking state emergency laws. All this and more coming up in tonight's broadcast.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
It is Friday, the 12th of June, 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News Edition on Flow Channel 117, Kiss FM, and our Caribbean Hot FM mobile app. I'm Rochelle Gonzalez. Thank you for joining us. Whilst the Black Lives Matter movement in St. Lucia received lots of support from individuals all over the island, including Prime Minister Alan Chastanet, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force disapproved the request for the gathering given the current state of emergency on the island. This, however, did not deter the organizers of the protest, as on the morning of Friday, June 12th, a crowd convened at Constitution Park to agitate against racism and police brutality.
The Black Lives Matter movement St. Lucia was well received among various sectors around the island, including the Prime Minister. And though there was much contention and disapproval from the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, the protest continued. A few brave St. Lucians picked up placards and wore black in support of the Black Lives Matter movement protest on Friday. One of these brave, concerned St. Lucians was the CSA General Secretary, Claude Paul.
The protesters feel strong enough to make a statement, and so they are exercising that right to do so. I am among them. Sometimes when a law is deemed to be unjust, people have to stand up. And so if there is a view that there is no need for this situation as is being presented, whereas I accept the police have no discretion in the matter and must make decision in accordance with the law, it is left for people, the citizens of the country, to express their dissatisfaction if they think the situation doesn't warrant the position that the law has taken.
Paul indicated that he believes the time has come for persons to rally together, as many people in the country have reached their breaking points with regards to certain issues. Also present was the Executive Director for the Eastern Caribbean Alliance for Diversity and Equality, Kenita Placid, to show her support for the movement.
When we think about the movement, the social justice movement, and thinking about Black Lives Matter, thinking about injustices of cases right here in St. Lucia that has not been solved, have not been dealt with, there is no closure for families. I think a movement like this is something that we feel across the globe. I've had to stand with many persons in different global partners because at the end of the day, when we allow one injustice to happen, we are not sure when it will happen to another and at whose expense, at whose cost. So just being able to show up, show solidarity, because we believe Black Lives Matter.
Many others came with placards to show their solidarity, and those who did not wish to brandish cards simply stood aside and watched while making their presence felt. The St. Lucia Black Lives Matter movement took a kneel for George Floyd.
I can't breathe! 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 Take your knee! Off my neck! 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 I can't breathe! I can't breathe! I can't breathe! I can't breathe! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! George Floyd Matter! George Floyd Matter! Eric Garner Matter! Purple Matter! Purple Matter! Chakadan!
Present at the gathering at Constitution Park were Leader of the Opposition Philip J. Pierre and First Deputy of the St. Lucia Labour Party Dr. Ernest Hilaire to show their solidarity with the movement and the agitating for social justice. The duo expressed dissatisfaction with the apparent mix-up as to who holds the ultimate power to allow such marches to take place in St. Lucia during this time.
The St. Lucia Labour Party has lent its support to the Black Lives Matter movement St. Lucia after leader of the opposition, Philippe J. Pierre, and the first deputy leader, Dr. Ernest Hilaire, were present at the protest on Friday. The two expressed disbelief at the apparent blame game being played when it came to the disapproval of the event that was issued by the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. Dr. Hilaire expressed that the posts being circulated on social media by the Prime Minister simply held no weight.
Under the state of emergency, the Prime Minister is a competent authority. If he wants this event to take place, he just has to issue an order authorizing it. The Commissioner of Police doesn't have the authority to approve or disapprove. He has to enforce the orders that's under the state of emergency. So if there is an order that says X, Y, and Z, he has to enforce it. The competent authority under the state of emergency is the Prime Minister. So forget his post. If he wants this event to take place, he can authorize it because he is the competent authority under the state of emergency, not the Commissioner of Police.
The leader of the opposition, Philippe J. Pierre, indicated that he was pleased to see that persons actually stepped up and came out to support a movement that they believed in. He echoed his past sentiments of disapproval with the extension of the state of emergency.
We have a right in St. Lucia to congregate. The Constitution gives us a right to congregate. And that's what we said. When the state of emergency was extended, that was a reason that we thought that the government was trying to subvert the rights of people to congregate. You think it's their right, they congregate and they demonstrate all over the world. And I'm happy that a few brave people have chosen to do it in St. Lucia. And that's why Ernest and I are here.
Pierre explained that he and his parties are supporters of and for justice and the eradication of social ills.
Yeah, well, we are here to show solidarity with the cause. We think that racism is a scourge. We think colonialism is a scourge. And we are here to show that our disapproval as to what happened in the US, but also our disapproval with racism on the whole. We think racism must stop. All forms of racism, all forms of colonialism, whether pseudo-colonialism or not, will stop, and we are here to show our solidarity.
Both members of the St. Lucia Labour Party could be seen actively participating in the protest on Friday. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzague.
Despite all the uncertainty surrounding the Black Lives Matter movement in St. Lucia, members of the public still showed up to show their solidarity. Hot 7 spoke to a few people present to see how they felt about the challenges they encountered.
A reasonable crowd gathered to show solidarity for the Black Lives Matter movement St. Lucia. We asked persons present, how do you feel seeing that this movement continued despite all contention?
Well, I think it's a positive move, and if we can see the numbers out there today, I mean, not that great, but still they're out there in the numbers. I think it's a real positive thing, and the message is getting out there because worldwide, racism is a thing that is continuing, we go way back from slavery to now, and it's the same thing happening all over. So I really think it's positive, and I hope the message gets spread out that, all, not just black lives, but all lives really matter, you understand? But it's like others say, sometimes the way they say the police and them go about doing it, is like, if they don't go that way, then they feel like they're going to be undermined by the people. But, sometimes they use too much aggression sometimes,
I think it's certainly very encouraging to see that St. Lucians actually came out. We're under a state of emergency, and I think many people would have seen a letter written by the Commissioner of Police saying that he did not approve the activity. Of course, the Commissioner of Police does not have the authority, from what I understand, to approve or disapprove. His role is to enforce the state of emergency orders. The competent authority is the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister can sanction this activity if he wants. And the fact that he has not sanctioned it and said go ahead with it probably tells you a lot. But at least St. Lucians did come out to show solidarity with what's happening in the United States and the world over.
Not satisfied with the turnout. I expected to see many more people in this turnout because I can testify from 1979 in this country, we have gotten tear gas from the police. I am not satisfied at turnout at all. I expected to see so many people here.
I see that the numbers have come out, albeit small. It's a very difficult decision for people to make as to whether or not to come out because there's a state of emergency. There are the genuine issues that persons have in terms of their health and whether they're exposing themselves unnecessarily to COVID. So that would cause some people not to come out. But at the same time, I think others who are here have probably taken a calculated risk. They are coming out because it's a cause that's important to them. I'm sure it's important to a lot of other people who are not here today that felt that they couldn't come. So I'm happy to see that people are here. They are expressing their opinions, and it's a move in the right direction.
Well, it is a positive step in the right direction. Everything begins with a first step, and we were absolutely delighted that at least people stood up, notwithstanding the farcical denial of the request for permission to have a protest in solidarity, a peaceful protest in solidarity with the people, black people in the United States and black people the world over who are seeking for equal rights and justice.
It felt good. Number one, the crowd is okay, but I find St. Lucia should be more together, come out to support that kind of thing. That's how I see it.
Reporting from Constitution Park, I am Janine Gonzalez.
On Friday, police were present at the peaceful protest organized by the Black Lives Matter St. Lucia group. On Thursday, a memo from the RSLPF circulated stating that the application to have the march was not approved due to the state of emergency in the country. Assistant Police Commissioner Wayne Shalry told the media that there are consequences for breaking the law and they may follow soon. He says there are many options that are available to the force in the upcoming days. What must be done, he said, will be done.
There was great concern as to what could have possibly happened during the protest on Friday, May 12th, after a letter was circulated on social media stating that the request to have a protest was not approved by the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. One of the organizers at the movement, Peter Rasp-Iper Isaac, explained to the media that the group had been presented with many challenges from the onset.
And as you know, it's Tashwiks who have been in connection with them in terms of the back and forth. And it seems to me what happened there is blame have been going all around the corner. The police commissioner support the march. He support Black Lives Matters. The Prime Minister support what Black Lives Matters. But it seems they didn't give us permission. In the first instance, we went to get the form. They didn't even give us the form so that we could apply, and then tomorrow morning we could hear, well, they didn't give us the form. So we had to use Tashwiks as a goodwill ambassador to get an application through to the commissioner.
Isaac says the agitation for justice will not be silenced. He indicated that this was the first event in a series of marches and protests to agitate for social justice and change. Assistant Police Commissioner Wayne Shalry indicated that while the force agrees to the preservation of life and understands what the Black Lives Matter movement is seeking to do, the march that took place was still illegal.
I'll be satisfied when the law has been broken. However, I believe my officers and myself, we did very well in ensuring that the peace was preserved. Okay, we had many options available to us, and we selected the option we felt best for the preservation of the peace. I personally believe that all lives matter. Obviously, St. Lucian life matter very much to me and all visitors to St. Lucia. As the Assistant Deputy Police Commissioner, I can tell you that the police force, in our quest to protect life and preserve the peace, it is the life of people that we are protecting and every life that comes to St. Lucia. So there is no doubt that we are in solidarity with the universal right to life.
Shalry indicated that because rules were broken with the continuing of the protests even after it was not approved, officers of the law now have a monumental task of assessing how the situation that ensued at Constitution Park will be dealt with.
We are pursuing all our options. Upon arriving on the scene, I was briefed by my senior officer, and having assessed it, there are many options that we can certainly go into. And for sure, that is one option that we can consider.
The Assistant Commissioner did make it clear that there was no concrete way of dealing with the matter yet and indicated that the force will ensure that all options at their disposal are looked into. and stated that officers present would be able to identify many people who were present if that has to be done. Shari, however, made it clear that he, just like every other St. Lucian, understands the purpose of the Black Lives Matter movement, but laws are laws. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzague.
This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with us because when we come back, the national curfew time is adjusted. The families of victims of police brutality join the Black Lives Matter movement, and the island's chief environmental health officer reminds St. Lucians to follow the Public Health Act.